My girlfriend said, "You don't have the heart to leave me." I said, "Watch me." Then I sent her home. She smirked when she said it across a pizza table. By midnight, her bags were packed. 2 weeks later, her friends were calling, her mother was apologizing, and a judge was reading her texts aloud. Original post: I'm Mason, 32, and my ex is Tessa, 29. We were together for a little over 2 years, and she had been living in my condo in Denver for 9 months. The condo is mine. I bought it before I met her. My name is on everything. Mortgage, utilities, parking pass, HOA records, all of it. That matters later. Tessa had this habit of dressing up cruelty like confidence. She never thought of herself as mean. She thought of herself as honest, bold, real. The kind of person who says what everyone else is too scared to say. The problem was, what she usually said was disrespectful. She liked to tease in public, push in private, then act confused when I didn't laugh. If I called her out, she said I was too sensitive. If I went quiet, she said I was sulking. If I tried to talk it through like an adult, she'd roll her eyes and say not everything has to become a whole emotional production. After a while, I got used to trimming my reactions down, keeping things short, staying calm, not because calm fixed anything, just because calm kept the damage smaller. The breakup happened on a Friday night at a pizza place in Aloud. It was supposed to be casual, just dinner with Tessa, one of her friends, and that friend's boyfriend. Halfway through the meal, Tessa started one of her little performances. She told the table that I probably read restaurant reviews before trying new toothpaste. Then she said I was the kind of guy who'd schedule intimacy like a dentist appointment. Everybody laughed because she had that polished, playful tone that made it sound harmless. I let the first 2 comments go. The third one was about how I overthink everything because deep down I'm scared of life. That one landed differently. On the walk back to the car, I said, "You need to stop doing that." She kept walking. Doing what? Turning me into a joke. She stopped beside the passenger door and looked at me like I had disappointed her. Then she said, "Calm as anything, Mason, you don't have the heart to leave me." No anger. No wine-fueled outburst, just confidence, like it was a fact. I looked at her for maybe 2 seconds and said, "Watch me." She laughed, actually laughed. Then she said she was meeting some people for drinks at a rooftop bar because she wasn't going to spend the night babysitting my feelings. She expected me to argue. I didn't. I got in the car, drove us home, and she changed clothes like nothing had happened. At the door, she paused, probably waiting for me to apologize or start negotiating. "I didn't," she said. "Don't do anything dramatic while I'm out." I said, "I won't." That part was true. I wasn't dramatic. I was organized. The second the door closed, I started packing. I used the 3 big suitcases she brought when she moved in, then 2 storage bins from the hall closet. Her dresses, shoes, bathroom stuff, makeup case, hair tools, framed photos, ring light, candles, skin care drawer, work laptop stand. The throw pillows, she said, made my place look less dead inside, all of it. I packed it neatly, folded, zipped, labeled. Then I changed the smart lock code. Then I logged into the building portal and deactivated her garage access. Then I texted her one line. "You were right about one thing, I do have the heart to leave. Your things are packed, pick up tomorrow." She called in less than 10 seconds. I let it ring. Then came the texts. "Are you serious, Mason? Open the door, you're acting insane, this isn't funny." Then the tone changed. "Okay, you've made your point. Stop now. Don't embarrass yourself like this." That one almost got a laugh out of me. By 11:40, she was downstairs buzzing the front desk with her friend Alyssa. The concierge called my cell and asked if I wanted them sent up. I said no. 5 minutes later, Tessa sent a voice note from a new number because I had already blocked the first one. She said, "You are not actually doing this over one sentence. Open the door." I blocked that number too. At 12:15, Alyssa started texting me from her own phone, calling me cold, petty, unstable, immature. I blocked her as well. At 12:31, Tessa emailed me a full paragraph about how she had only been trying to challenge me to grow, and I was proving her point by reacting like this. I didn't answer. I put her bags by the entry bench, turned off my phone, and sat in a condo that felt bigger than it had in months. The next morning, I emailed the HOA manager and front desk with one sentence: Tessa no longer lives here and is no longer authorized for access. Please do not grant entry without my approval. The manager replied in under 10 minutes, understood. That afternoon, she came back for her things with Alyssa and her younger brother, Cole. Cole barely looked at me. Alyssa looked furious. Tessa looked like someone who couldn't decide whether the better strategy was crying or contempt. She went with contempt first. "You really want to be heartless over this?" I said. "No, I just don't want to be with you anymore." She stared at me, waiting for more. I had none. They made 3 trips to the elevator. On the last one, she said, "You'll call me by Monday." I said, "No, I won't." That was the original post. Update 1. I thought the worst part was going to be the breakup itself. It wasn't. The worst part was what came after Tessa realized I meant it. For the first 48 hours, she kept trying new channels. Text from unknown numbers. Email from her personal account. Then email from her work account, which was bold. Then Instagram messages from a burner account with no profile photo. Every version had the same 3 ingredients: blame, nostalgia, and some variation of me not having enough heart to fix what I broke. I saved everything: screenshots, timestamps, call logs, emails, voice notes, building messages. I made a folder on my laptop called Heart, Petty, Useful. On day 3, Alyssa texted again from a different number. "Tessa is devastated. You made your point. Be a man and talk to her. That phrase always tells you everything." "Be a man" usually means do what she wants, I replied once. Just once. She told me I didn't have the heart to leave. I left. There is nothing to discuss. Then I blocked that number too. A few hours later, I got a LinkedIn message from some guy named Grant who said he was a friend of Tessa's and thought maybe there had been a misunderstanding. Only Tessa would send a flying monkey to LinkedIn like we were negotiating a software contract instead of ending a relationship. I answered with the same truth. "No misunderstanding. She said what she said. I accepted it. Please don't contact me again." He never replied. Then came the social media campaign. Black screen posts about heartbreak, stories about emotionally unavailable men. A blurry selfie with the caption, "Some people can hold your heart for years and still never know how to care for it." A mutual friend named Devin screenshotted one of them and sent it to me with, "Hey, are you okay? She's making this sound bad." So I sent him one screenshot back. Just the original text I sent after packing her things. "You were right about one thing. I do have the heart to leave. Your things are packed. Pick up tomorrow." Then I sent the context, her quote from the parking lot. That was enough. Devin replied, "Oh." Then nothing else. That became the pattern. Tessa would release a version. One piece of evidence would kill it. The first unexpected ally was not someone I expected at all. It was her mother, Linda. Linda called me that Sunday afternoon. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to take it. She said, "I'm not calling to fight. I'm trying to understand what happened because Tessa is telling 3 different stories and none of them line up." So I told her exactly what happened. The pizza place. The comment. The car. The line, "You don't have the heart to leave me." Linda got very quiet. Then she sighed and said, "She said that." I said yes. Then she said something I still remember word for word. "She confuses being adored with being safe. Those are not the same thing." That was probably the most honest sentence anyone in her family had ever said about her. I thanked her for calling. She apologized for the situation, not in a fake, "sorry you feel that way" kind of tone, but like she genuinely knew her daughter had crossed a line. We ended the call politely. I wish that had been the end. It wasn't. 2 nights later, Tessa tried to get into the building by telling the concierge she had left medication upstairs. The concierge called me first, just like I had asked. I said no entry. 10 minutes later, I found a folded note tucked under my windshield wiper in the garage. "You're acting like you never had a heart at all." That went in the folder too. Around the same time, my actual life started getting easier. I slept through the night for the first time in weeks. I stopped checking my phone every 10 minutes. I started going back to the early Saturday basketball run I'd quit because Tessa used to say it was a waste of time. At work, I got pulled into a larger rollout for a hospital client in Colorado Springs because my manager said I seemed more focused lately. That part made me laugh privately. Nothing sharpens a man like peace. Update 2 by week 3, Tessa had stopped pretending she wanted closure. What she wanted was access. First, she showed up at my office building downtown. The receptionist messaged me that a woman was in the lobby saying she was my girlfriend and needed 5 minutes because she had a family emergency. Not ex-girlfriend. Girlfriend. I replied, ex-girlfriend. Do not send her up. The receptionist called security. Tessa left before they reached the lobby, but not before leaving a white envelope at the desk with my name written in the careful handwriting she used when she was trying to look sincere. Inside was a card that said, "I'm sorry I spoke from hurt, not heart. I wish I was making that line up." I photographed it and added it to the folder. That afternoon, she sent me a Venmo request for $1260 labeled shared groceries, utilities, and emotional damage. Emotional damage. I declined it with one note: you lived here rent-free. Do not contact me again. Then she did what people like Tessa always do when money doesn't work. She escalated in public. A mutual named Brooke messaged me to say Tessa was telling people I had thrown her out with nowhere to go and kept items she paid for. So I sent Brooke a photo of the 3 suitcases, the labeled bins, and the concierge pickup log from the day she collected everything. Brooke replied, "That's not how she told it." I said, "I know." Then came the coffee shop incident. I was at the place near Union Station where I usually worked for an hour on Fridays after lunch. I looked up and there she was in line, wearing my old gray hoodie from college like it was some kind of emotional uniform. She smiled and said, "Small world." It wasn't a small world. It was a very deliberate coffee shop. I said, "Give me the hoodie back." She laughed. "So that's what matters to you?" "No," I said. "What matters is you leaving me alone." Then I took out my phone and started recording. Her whole face changed. Nothing scares a manipulative person faster than documentation. She said, "Are you really recording me?" "Yes." "That's insane." "Then walk away." She muttered something about me proving her point and left without ordering. I saved that clip too. 2 days later, she got into my parking garage by tailgating another resident. When I came downstairs with a gym bag, she was leaning against my car like we were about to go on a road trip. No tears this time. No fake softness, just attitude. She said, "You know this is ridiculous." I stayed back and said, "Leave. You can't seriously call the cops over a breakup." "No," I said. "I'd call them over harassment." She crossed her arms. "I gave you my heart, Mason." I said, "No. You gave me conditions." That one landed. You could see it. Her face hardened immediately and she said, "You'll regret making me look crazy." I pulled out my phone and called building security on speaker. This time I didn't bluff it into reality after the fact. I did it right there. She left before security reached the garage, but they reviewed the camera footage, pulled the plate number from her car, and sent me a written notice saying she had been warned not to enter the property again. That same evening, Linda called me back. She didn't defend Tessa, didn't ask for one more chance, didn't do any of the usual parent stuff. She said, "I told her to stop, she won't. Do what you need to do." That was the green light I needed. The next morning I met with an attorney named Renee. I brought screenshots, the note from my windshield, the office lobby card, the Venmo request, the coffee shop video, the garage footage, and the security notice. Renee flipped through the binder and said, "She keeps changing tactics because she still thinks one of them will get you emotional." I said, "I'm past emotional." She nodded and said, "Good, then let's be procedural." Renee sent a cease and desist that afternoon. For 6 days, silence. Then on day 7, Tessa sent flowers to my office with a card that said, "For the man who still has my heart." Security refused delivery because I had already notified them. That was enough for Renee. She filed for a protective order the next day. While all this was happening, my actual life kept improving in ways Tessa would have hated. I got positive feedback from the hospital rollout. My manager started talking about a senior title. I kept going to Saturday basketball. One of the women in that group, Claire, invited me for tacos after a game with a few other people, then later for coffee one-on-one. Easy conversation. No tests, no hidden punishments, no weird need to win every moment. I didn't even realize how tense I had been for 2 years until I sat across from someone normal. Final update: the hearing was about a month later. Tessa showed up looking like a completely different person. Soft blue blouse, hair pulled back, minimal makeup, quiet voice. The whole performance was built for one purpose: to make me look like the man who dragged a sensitive woman into court because she had trouble letting go. Renee was ready for that. She had everything tabbed and organized in a binder thick enough to make the point before anyone even spoke. Timeline, call logs, screenshots, the office lobby incident, garage footage. The cease and desist, the refused flowers, all of it. Tessa's attorney tried the usual angle: emotional breakup, miscommunication. A woman acting from heartbreak, not malice. A few regrettable attempts to reconnect after an abrupt separation. Then Renee let Tessa's own words do the work. The judge asked if she had said, "You don't have the heart to leave me." Tessa tried to explain tone, context, stress, relationship dynamics. The judge asked again. "Did you say it?" She said yes. Then he asked if she had continued contacting me after I told her not to. Again, yes, with a long explanation attached. Judges do not care about the explanation once the yes is already on record. The parking garage footage mattered. The office visit mattered. The flowers after the cease and desist mattered even more. But the thing that really seemed to turn the room was how many different channels she used after every clear no. Phone, email, LinkedIn, social media, in person, flowers, friends. It stopped looking like heartbreak and started looking exactly like what it was: refusal. The judge granted the order for 1 year. No contact. No visits to my residence or workplace. No third-party contact except through counsel. 300 feet. Tessa cried when the ruling came down. Real tears, maybe, but I was already somewhere past reacting to them. Not cruel, just done. In the hallway outside the courtroom, Linda stopped me before I got to the elevator. She looked exhausted. She said, "I'm sorry." I told her I appreciated that. Then she handed me a small paper bag. Inside was my gray hoodie, one watch charger, and the spare mailbox key Tessa had never returned. Linda said, "That should be everything." I believed her. The next few weeks were quiet in the best way. No unknown numbers, no notes, no mutual friends trying to hear both sides. The story had collapsed under evidence, and once people saw the evidence, most of them disappeared. At work, I got promoted to senior implementation lead and a raise that covered more than I expected. Claire and I kept seeing each other. Slowly. Normally. She once sent me 2 texts in a row because I was in a meeting, then joked that hopefully she wasn't overwhelming my delicate heart. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. That was the moment it really clicked for me. Tessa always used the word heart like it meant weakness. Like caring made you easy to control. Like kindness was something she could demand without ever giving respect back. And when she said, "I didn't have the heart to leave," what she really meant was this: she thought I'd keep loving her more than I loved my own peace. She was wrong. People like that always confuse access with love. They think if they can still reach you, they still matter to you. They think if they push the right guilt button, use the right memory, send the right flying monkey, show up in the right hoodie, they can reset the whole story. But once you really leave, once you stop negotiating with disrespect, the whole illusion falls apart. That's what happened here. I didn't lose my heart. I just stopped handing it to someone who treated it like leverage. Best decision I ever made. If you've ever dealt with someone who used love as control, let me know in the comments whether you faced something similar or what your opinion is. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so more people can hear stories like this.